Leinster inflict another semi-final defeat on Toulouse. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. James Gibson Park makes a nice early break for Leinster, gets them up to the edge of the 22. Toulouse then get pinged for being off their feet. Ross Byrne opens the scoring from the tee, we're at 3-0 to Leinster. Toulouse then have a period of possession, but a mark and a kick clear by Hugo Keenan seems to have lifted that pressure. But then Ramos kicks just an absolutely sublime 50-22, gets him back into position. They then work it infield from the line out. Great carry from Willis. Then they spin it back out where they've got numbers, and Aki goes over to score. Ramos converts from out wide. That's 7-3. Toulouse hit the front. Shortly after, Maravaka with a high hit on Ringrose, and Leinster go for the post again. Byrne closes the gap to 7-6. Toulouse then lose Barassi to injury, and he's replaced by Grau. And this has a big effect on them because Toulouse only have two backs on the bench. Grau has to go in at 9, which means that Dupont has to shift into the centres. And yeah, he's got like very little impact on the game, compared to what he would have at 9 from there on. They then get a yellow card. Ramos with a deliberate knock on as Leinster are applying pressure with the ball in hand. Leinster decide to go to the corner. They line out, set up the maul. Sheehan breaks off, gets to within a couple of meters. They have penalty advantage, but they don't need it because Conan manages to get over and score. Byrne converts, and at 13-7, Leinster back in front. Toulouse, at this point, they're struggling to cope with Leinster's speed of play. Leinster then they go over again, and it's Conan again a few minutes later. Van der Fleer and Conan combine out wide. Conan, he's got Van der Fleer inside him. There's only one defender to beat. He sells a dummy and he goes over to score. Some good carries from the likes of Sheehan in the build-up to that one. He's converted them at 20-7. Leinster then have a try ruled out. Jimmy O'Brien loses the ball in the corner. Good tackle from Malia forces the knock-on. Toulouse then basically hand Leinster a try. Grau hits Willis in the face of the ball. Sheehan gathers it and has the pace to go over. Byrne converts from out wide, 27-7. Toulouse then, managed to apply some pressure. Dupont and Entamac 2-4. Nice to see Dupont kind of back in the game. He's been out of it for, most of the opening, but then the move breaks down with a knock-on. Leinster win a penalty at the scrum as Aldaheri is pinged for hinging. Leinster then concede a couple of penalties, and Toulouse go quickly from the second one. Dupont shakes off the tackle of Natai, and they recycle a few times. Maufu stretches out to score. It's converted by Ramos, 27-14. Toulouse then applying more pressure, but this time Natai makes up for his missed tackle and produces a great 50-22. Leinster back on the front foot to go through some phases. Maravaka gets over the ball, wins a penalty for Toulouse, and then 27-14 is our halftime score. Toulouse start the second half looking for a response. They're applying pressure, but there's some great defence keeping him out. And again, Natai is really having a great game for a guy that hasn't played in so long. We're going to have a kicking contest. Leinster come out on top of this. Natai then, he's going off. He gets a standing ovation. What a performance for him. Like as I said, hasn't played in so long. Porter gets pinged at a scrum and Toulouse win a penalty. Ramos decides to take the points and make it a 10-point game, 27-17. Then Nettie gets a yellow card for head-on-head contact with Van der Fleer at a ruck. Ramos had just kicked 50-22, but now it's Leinster kicking to the corner instead of Toulouse having an attacking line-out. Leinster then set up the maul and they drive over. Van der Fleer is the scorer. Byrne converts this one for 34-17 with 20 minutes to go. Leinster then add another try that pretty much confirmed their spot in the final. They maul it close. Then the good carries from the forwards, and Jenkins finally gets over, is converted for 41-17. Leinster managed to contain Toulouse up until pretty much the final play of the game. Toulouse kick a penalty to the corner, set up a maul, and then the drive over. Willis is the scorer for this one. Conversions missed. 41-22 is our final score. Let's have a look at some of the stats from the game. So starting with possession, 52% to 48% in favour of Leinster, and then 50-50 in terms of territory. But Leinster on both sides of the ball just very comfortable in a lot of the game. Like early on, Toulouse did apply some pressure, but once Leinster got the scores, it felt like they were very comfortable. After that, tries 5 for Leinster, 2 for Toulouse. Defenders beaten, 15 for Leinster, 25 for Toulouse. But the problem for Toulouse was that Leinster's scramble offence was really good, so it was very hard for them to get scores out of those defenders beaten. A lot of it was kind of in and around the ruck, especially when in the second half they just kind of threw caution to the wind, and they were beating players, but they were only moving forward by a metre or two, or sometimes even just moving sideways. Scrum then 83% for Leinster and 100% for Toulouse. Meters kicked 1,007 for Leinster, 750 for Toulouse. That was a part of the game that Leinster really did well, and I was surprised by it because with no James Lowe in the team, I kind of thought that with the likes of Ramos, Dupont, and Ntamack, that maybe Toulouse would have the edge there. But the guys who come in, the likes of O'Brien, really stepped up in that regard. And then meters made 392 for Leinster, 397 for Toulouse. Penalties conceded 7 for Leinster, 9 for Toulouse. Leinster didn't concede a penalty up until that kind of passage of play where Toulouse got their, it was their second try of the game. Up to then, Leinster hadn't blotted their copybook, and by the time they started giving away penalties, the game was pretty much over and done. So in terms of the overall for the teams, I think the reshuffle really affected Toulouse when Grau came on. Dupont, having to move, had flashes from him, but he didn't have the impact you would expect from a player who is so outstanding. He's an amazing player, but he wasn't getting as many touches of the ball because he's not at 9 anymore. And there wasn't really much that they could do because they could put Grau anywhere else, but still they went for the 6-2 split on the bench, and it really did backfire for them. Leinster, I think the pack really made a statement today, especially last year where the pack in the 2 games where they lost, the semi-final against the Bulls and the final against La Rochelle, pack got kind of beaten up a little bit, but today, put down a marker. Natai, again, great performance from him, and Byrne just really in control at 10. I think this run of games is going to really stand to him. Top games for him to play ahead of the Rugby World Cup again. And I think in the final it's going to be very hard to beat this Leinster team.